Taurus, this is your August 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this reading might resonate for you. It's Romy here. I appreciate you taking the time to tune in and support me. We are going to open up this month with the energy of the Knight of Wands. We're of course into Leo season. And even whilst you are on this quest, even whilst there is change afoot, every piece of you deserves to be at peace with you. And I think peace emerges when we remember where our power is. And there's something really invigorating and dynamic about the arrival of this night at the beginning of August. It is something to bear in mind that, as you move through fourth house energy, there is this addressing of the wound of belonging, if you like. And whilst there may be parts of you that are orientating towards these bigger visions, bolder dreams, this is what Leo's asking of us, right? And, at the same time, you're also trying to reconcile and make peace with the fact that if you have grown up or you're currently in an environment where those ambitions, those desires, those inspirations, haven't been nurtured, haven't been understood or recognized, then it can constantly create this sense of inner friction and conflict around our deservedness and our worthiness to be able to feel entitled to this life, to this as a reality for us. And, it's a really interesting month. We have two powerful supermoons coming in on the 1st and on the 30th, sort of bookending the experience. And what they're going to do is create a little bit of a void-like energy and at the same time create somewhat of a veil of confusion and uncertainty, but at the same time help us to unlock something much deeper within our subconscious. And, where you're stood right now, poised and ready to kind of embark on this new adventure, because it's really kind of what I see you being prepared for, this like new adventure in your life. One of the things you have to be super mindful of is, how you're able to operate from spaces that are going to make you feel safe and nourished, because when we're able to do that, we can access different parts of our own energetic field. And we can draw forth from our heart energy. We can pull down those intuitive insights in a way that is really serving our growth and helping us kind of know what that next step looks like. So this month, I think you're going to be making some really important decisions, Taurus, around where you are physically spending time and perhaps where you need to be in order for your soul to be recharged and rejuvenated, because the Knight of Wands is also bringing in travel and movement. And even if that's, taking some time out or visiting somewhere that just really restores you, it's going to help you to kind of get the charge that you need to be able to face what you need to. Yeah, now this is a season where you're coming back to something or someone, but you will make some different choices. Now, to a certain extent, you will pick up where you left off, and it may actually feel like this was just yesterday. But if we are being driven by this need for growing in an energy of peace, it's really going to help you to reflect deeply on the ways in which you need to inner parent yourself through the complexity. So that means you're going to have to be asking yourself, what is it that you need right now? And what do you need from them if it's coming, into specific connections and people this month? And then you need to ask yourself, are they actually even capable of giving me this right now at this time? And if the answer to that is no, then it helps you to redirect or, choose to invest your energy in another area of your life at that time. And I think, honestly, as simple as that sounds, it can save you a tremendous amount of heartache this month, because that Four of Cups indicates to me that we almost, if we're not careful, can lose this charge, this adventure, this exhilaration, this anticipation of where we can get to, where we're going, when you come up against another energy that may be unwilling or simply unable to meet you there. And then it's almost just like, you know, somebody kind of raining on our parade, so to speak. And it might be, you know, far more wounding or far more triggering than that statement really kind of encapsulates. But nonetheless, that Four of Cups almost wants, you know, you to just check out and forget about it all. And that's not what this month is about, because you are deeply in a preparing time, and it's almost a cosmic conversation where the universe is trying to get you back towards those bigger visions and goals that you have for yourself. The strategy of how we deploy and how we get there and how it's all going to work itself out, well, that comes next. And the Nine of Swords tells me that you might spend a little bit too much time trying to figure that out in the here and the now. And, you know, in the first part of August, that full moon in Aquarius, helping to try to dissolve some of the mental chatter that's going on, but also give you that sort of maverick, I'm ready to do things differently and I'm ready to do them on my terms. Then we have the influences coming in. And I feel that these, you know, to some degree, are about these external influences that are then activating or, you know, causing you some sort of acute stress. And I feel there's a tiredness to this, which suggests to me that it's a very old stress. So it's something that you have probably been navigating, you're well aware of. And, you know, it's gotten to a point where you are like literally sort of beaten down and exhausted by the whole thing. So maybe we've just been having this repetitive conversation. Now, there are misunderstandings moving through the month of August. We need to remember Mercury is going to go retrograde on the 23rd, so you're in shadow from the beginning of the month, you know, alongside Venus retrograde. And it can feel like we're taking a step backwards. For you, what's going to help, especially if you've got fears that you're kind of, where's this going to go? And you're kind of almost sort of pre-paving or telling the story and taking yourself off in the direction that you don't want to be in. This is a time for transparency with yourself, okay? With yourself, Taurus. Maybe not, you know, maybe not the right time to be transparent with others, although I never think there's anything to regret from that as a position. You know, when we are upfront and honest about what we need, who we are, what we want, then the gap between those expectations and disappointments can start to lessen. Yeah? But don't dampen down the visions or the ambitions that you have, because the universe is calling you out and calling you up. And for me, that 9 is coming in, probably not helped by this sort of veil that these moon energies are creating. And sort of almost like at times feeling like they're sending you backwards, or you're spiraling into a thought process that just is not healthy for you on any level. I suppose I want to remind you to sort of be curious about the lengths that you will sometimes go to feel loved or respected or recognized or seen. And really notice how that's showing up, especially with 4th house close to home. So that's going to be with parents, you know, with children, with partners, with siblings, you know, and the way in which that drives your behavior, because there are wounds here where there is constantly a source, a pain point, a disappointment, something that, you know, just feels like it's on a loop, literally on a loop. And, you know, as we get to a place of acceptance, and I would say that this is such a powerful theme for you through the course of August, if you can allow yourself to kind of really open your eyes and look directly into the face of the reality that you currently stand in, and just kind of be accepting of everything and making peace with everything that is going on and all that you feel and all that you are in this very moment. But not stay there, you know, allow yourself to kind of acknowledge it profoundly and deeply, and be aware that alongside the healing, which is continuous and never ending, we don't put the rest of our life on hold. Far from it, we continue to strive and to move forward and to make leaps and bounds and to keep readjusting and reimagining and making that vision brighter and bolder than ever before. So the acceptance is a critical kind of moment for you this month, and one that can be really freeing. Now, Lionsgate Portal is going to arrive on the 8th of the month. This beautiful conversation. We have the spiritual sun, Sirius rising. We have this energy of the luminary Leo, ruled by the sun, and it's an opportunity to kind of really recognize the growth and how you've evolved. And I really want to impress upon you, like, it's going to be astounding the degree to which you are so self-aware through the month of August, in spite of some of this confusion and the sort of external misunderstandings or kind of communication being disrupted. You yourself, on an intuitive psychic level, are like razor sharp, razor sharp. So this portal comes along and says, okay, like, let's revisit these goals. Let's harness this and help to amplify so that you can create space for this expansion to take place. Mind, body, and soul. This is about transcending your limitations. And the Page of Swords is about how you express and communicate those wants and desires to yourself, also to the universe. This is not a time to dim down on your ambitions. You know, you might feel like you're bending, perhaps incredibly uncomfortably, but you are not breaking. And even compromises where they need to be made still have to provide you with some common ground so that you feel like, all right, there's a foundation here that's strong enough to hold me as I keep growing and forging and making my way, you know, to what the next level looks like for me. Anything else will just feel suffocating. So all these swords, remember, represent our thought forms, our logic. And so sometimes the head can rule over the heart, and especially where Mercury, you know, ruler of communication, goes in a backspin. We can kind of get in that entangled place within ourselves. But, you know, remind yourself that Knight of Wands is coming through. He's a messenger of change, and he's coming in swiftly, and he's igniting a passion. And as we move into Virgo season, your 5th house is all lit up. So, you know, as we think about intention and desire and pleasure and the lightness and the creativity that can hold you and help you feel like you're alive and breathing. And, you know, remember, when you're realigning to these bigger visions, make space for the just being. And that goes back to the places that you feel good and any adjustments that you might need to make. And so you might come to some powerful conclusions about, I can't work there anymore. I can't live here anymore. I don't want to go there on holiday. I don't want to spend time in this space or place. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't vibe with me. It doesn't bring out the best in me. And I think that's going to be one of the most important conclusions you come to. Even if August isn't the time to make the practical move or the adjustment that's necessary, you can just sit in the realization of that. And I think that's a really powerful approach to take. Because sometimes we're in the wrong place. And when we're in the wrong place and it's not really allowing us to be our true self, yeah, then what's meant for us, what's destined for us, is almost held back because we can't access it. We're not on the right frequency of it. It's why when you go certain places, it just feels like you've come home. And remember, you're addressing a wound of belonging. So something might be speaking to you really powerfully, and that tower's coming in to kind of shake things up. Now, we definitely have some interesting surprises coming through with Uranus going retrograde later in the month. But ahead of that, we've got a new moon in Leo on the 16th, right? Mid-month. This is an opportunity for transparency and honesty with the self. You are going to come to terms with something that you want, that perhaps you've been trying to say that you didn't, or you've been, you know, avoiding or putting on the back burner or trying to compromise because you don't think someone else is where you are, or what, for whatever reason, it's not been something you felt like you could pursue. Well, I think that's got to change. I think there's something that's changing in you that means I can't not do this. I can't not do this. And like I said, again, this is not necessarily the month for the strategy, because sometimes we can talk ourselves out of it when we realize the enormity of what it's going to mean, how it might break up a situation or cause ramifications, implications, the ripple that will kind of permeate right down the line. But you do owe it to yourself because you're being called out and called up for a reason in regards to this. So that new moon is a pivot point for you. And, you know, it sets into motion something that by the time we get to that culminating full moon in Leo in the early part of 24, you've already made inroads, or something major has happened to kind of show you that this was inevitable. There is an inevitability about some of the things that you're feeling into. The reason it's so inevitable is because you've changed. You've changed, so you can't go back, so you can't fit into what was anymore. So we come into Virgo season. Sun shifts into the sign on the 23rd. Mercury goes retrograde the same day. Of course, a beautiful time to kind of, on an intuitive, creative level, go behind the scenes and just like really start to contemplate and think and gather up information and evidence and research and possibilities and options. This is your time being best spent through August, yeah? Getting the big vision, going bolder than you've ever been, and then gathering up data. As we move into September, you'll find that strategy almost starts to populate itself because you've done enough to kind of feel confident and sure about the direction that you want to go in. But what we find as we come up, towards that Uranus going retrograde 28th, and then just ahead of the second full moon in Pisces, remember the emotional energy of Pisces is going to make you go deeper, and it's going to make you have those hard conversations, intense conversations, but they're also beautiful in the sense that they're helping to transcend limitations and put you in a place where energetically you can almost call on higher beings, and you can call on energy from different dimensions. And this is so powerful because it helps you to make sense of your own soul journey. So you're going to have some kind of crazy interactions and connections around that time, but Uranus can feel a little bit disruptive, and that's what that tower's showing up for me for this month, okay? I don't necessarily feel that it has to be viewed upon as like, oh my God, this is devastating, this is awful. Far from it. I think this is wholly necessary, because you may be feeling into something and know what's needed, but then for whatever reason just not feel like you're quite able or ready or prepared to do what it's going to take. This is the beginning of something shifting in your world to say, well, it's happening. So, we're going to already start moving the foundations of this. Yeah. And so, again, there's some fear that gets activated as a result of that. Remember, we also have, all these Leo energies lining up in Mercury, Venus, the Sun. Asteroid goddess Juno also moves into the sign on the 15th. She deals with professional partnerships, romantic partnerships, helping you to have bigger conversations about ambitions and the vision of where you see things going, but also figuring out what's real, what's being done for show. And of course, Black Moon Lilith still in Leo, and now in the season of Leo, kind of really grabbing your attention to do the work, to face the shadow and say, we will deal with where we have been dismissed, or we have dismissed ourselves, where we have kept ourselves small, especially in the areas of our talent, our creativity, our own innate gifts, of our family dynamic. And all of a sudden now getting pushed onto the front and center stage to say, own this, say it, do it. Yeah, so that can be an uncomfortable scenario, but like we said, you might be bending, but you're not breaking through this experience. This is a month where you can't really judge. Yeah, it's like a midway through a transitionary process. And you'll be feeling all the feels because on an intuitive level, like you're up there, right? But you're overlaying new storylines with old storylines, and everything just feels like a little bit of a hot mess at times, yeah? But through that, there are these sparks, these embers, these kind of visions, predictions, kind of almost like insights that you're being shown about where you're heading. Yeah, and that should be enough. In fact, I know it will be enough to give you not only the peace of mind, but also the validation that you need to be like, okay, like there's no stopping this. This is inevitable. I have to do this. This is the direction we're taking. And even that as a acceptance will also be powerful. Now, this will reverberate, Taurus, around all your relationships, everything that's going on, all the questions that you have about all the dynamics playing out. Remember, everything is a mirror to something to address within yourself in some form or another. And that's like powerful work for you. But you need to find the spaces that you feel safe in order to be able to process and to reflect. That's the biggest ask of the universe for you. Because if you've got some bigger stuff that's kind of coming in to help transform and move you forward in the direction you're supposed to be, you know, we can't have you kind of spending time in a place that just feels wrong. And even if, you know, you can't get out of your workplace or move house right away, go spend time in the nature or at a friend's house or back at your parents or wherever it is that gives you that sense of comfort and soul soothing. So if you're new to the channel, the last 3 cards we cover off in our extended reading, I talk for like 25-30 minutes or so, and just go deeper into the conversation. We also look at a personal question and a relationship card for you. So you can join me if this is resonating. I'm just going to go ahead and clarify the main spread now. This will also give us some insight to the way we are going to be taking this reading. Another tower coming through. So this month I have recorded a Lionsgate Portal Soul Meditation for you, as well as a brand new full moon activation. You'll find these in the link in the comment section underneath, as well as how you can join me on the extended version, okay? Also, all the decks I use are listed there as well. Any information basically that I touch on will be found in those spaces. Okay, what about this 9 of Swords? 3 of Pentacles. It's actually constructive. That's how we need to look at it. Constructive stress or fear. 10 of Pentacles. Okay. The thing is that there's this quality of things feeling a little illusionary with these full moons sort of pressing us and pushing us and kind of pinning us in place in August. And, you know, especially if this is a month where you tend to take a little bit more rest time, you know, maybe you've got some holidays or you're just taking a break from things. And often that's when everything just comes kind of flooding into the thought forms, isn't it? Because we've got time to think because we're not distracted, yeah? So that can often be why some of these energies just all surface so powerfully. High Priestess is an important energetic guide for you this month, because like I said, your intuition, your psychic awareness, the reading of your own energy field and your own situation is absolutely on point. Okay, let's go ahead and pull from Life Soul Vision Oracle, which is my personal deck. If you're new to the channel, you can find more information, see the cards, and also check out my other sacred title, MUSINGS, my book. And both of these are here to just support your spiritual journey. So please do, if you enjoy what I do, check them out. Eclipse Revelations. We have Soothe Your Soul. There's that sacred space, you see. So necessary for you this month. Energy Conversations. Solar Plexus energy, stand in your light. Remember, peace emerges where we remember where our power is. Perhaps where we lost it or left it. This is definitely a month where you are coming back to conversations, coming back to things. The returning of that. Remember, like Venus retrograde will bring back people who you have an intimate personal connection with on an emotional level. Mercury will bring back connections when it's retrograde that, you know, you might just have had one random conversation with at some point in time. So it's not necessarily, you know, holding that same level of sort of personalness, but regardless, all of these people who are going to be sort of moving through these kind of sliding doors scenarios in the month of August are really important, because each one of them is going to show you how far you've grown, how far you've come, or remember what's important, or how you can return to something. Okay, so pull one more oracle here. Beneath the surface, what's really driving you, true motives, breaking free. Okay, I think needing to ask yourself, what is it that I need on a daily basis is going to be super helpful. Simple but helpful. If you're joining me for the extended, I look forward to carrying this on, looking at your personal question and your relationship cards. Otherwise, I'm going to see you again next time. Thanks for being here. If it resonates, please do drop me a like and a comment. It really helps. Make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.